XCOM 2 is a game I don't believe knows how percentages work, because you can have a 99% accuracy shot and still somehow miss. But this is one of my favourite games growing up, and it's about 10 years old now, so I figured it's time to go back and relive the memories. I'm currently on a mission to go back and beat every game I used to play growing up. That could be from when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, or even when I was an adult. If that interests you at all, please subscribe and like, and follow the journey with me. For now, let's get into this XCOM 2 run. Let's hope I can get out of this one alive at least. XCOM 2 starts off with the aliens have taken over the world, and you're the commander of the resistance trying to take the world back from them. I'm playing on the Chosen expansion, which I've only played once before. I'm not exactly sure how this one works. And in the very first mission, you and your party are there to plant C4 on a big statue to, I guess, stand that you've arrived and to show the aliens you mean business. I've played this mission so many times before, because when I was growing up, I never used to want anyone to die. So if someone died in any mission, I'd just restart the whole game again. This time, I'm just going to let it play out and do my best not to have deaths. After the first mission, your squads get promoted into one of 4 ranks. First up is our explosive expert, Ivan Perez. Then we have our specialist, Alessandra Bruno, who has a gremlin that can do damage. They're pretty cool. Second to last, we have Ryo Matsumoto, who's our sharpshooter who can hit a target from anywhere in range. And finally, my favourite class, the Ranger, the Thule, who would quickly become the MVP of this run with his swordsmanship skills. Another guy I want to highlight is this Australian with a Crocodile Dundee hat. His name's Paul Thomas, who will be another key piece to the survival of humankind. But from now on, we're going to call him Dundee. The first mission we got to take Dundee on was a rescue mission for an engineer. They help with building things and help you get better armor and stuff like that, and help you build towers to get more contacts to open up more missions. At the start of the game, I was careful what I wanted to build, and as usual, the longer the game drew out, the more engineers I had, the more I didn't care about what I was building, because you just build anything anyway if you get enough engineers. But at the end of the mission, Dundee became a specialist, and I've actually used the gremlin a lot more in this game than I usually do. A couple missions later, the game introduces you to the Skirmisher and Reaper. And I've only ever played with this expansion once, so I've only ever seen them once. I get a bit of use out of both of them, but they're not in my endgame plans. At least, not of yet. But with this mission, also brings in your first opportunity to face the Chosen. They are 3 elite aliens who appear at any time during random missions, and they can be a handful to deal with. You gotta hunt them down and actually finally kill them, but them just appearing in missions really messes me up sometimes. And at the end of the mission, the Skirmisher gets kidnapped, and I gotta find out where he gets held later, and I'll go rescue him, and then he actually gets quite a bit of use once I rescued him. Every now and then you get retaliation missions, which are just like the Adventists attacked a base camp, and you just gotta go in there and calm it down, or else you lose the contact. And this is when I first meet the faceless aliens, which are these big blobby ones. When I was a kid, these things caused me some trouble, but I don't know why, because they're actually quite easy to beat. I guess they just caught me off guard a lot when I was younger. After a few of the covert missions in the game, I managed to find out where my imprisoned skirmisher was, so I sent a squad of 3 to go rescue him, and then I could use him from then on. I did not end up using him for a few missions. I stopped using him before the end, and you'll see why a bit later in this run, but I wanted to test both new units. So, introducing Mox the Skirmisher. He will be in the upcoming missions. The Chosen continued to attack me just on random missions, doing damage to my squad and leaving a lot of them injured all the time. I also did my missions early to upgrade the guns and the armor as quick as I could, because I needed them, and I knew I needed them. But with my upgrades, also the enemy upgraded, and I ran to the mech units. They can damage everyone at once with rocket launchers, so they're a bit annoying. And also the Vipers. They dodge more than they should, and they can knock people out by like constricting them. But Coke here with his glorious mustache managed to deal with them and collect the loot in his very first mission. What a champ. What a mustache. I also really started liking the Skirmisher. Our boy Mox was getting a lot of kills by bringing enemies to him and just slashing them apart, which is a really cool move. He was quickly becoming a mainstay in these missions. I even had him lead his own squad with him and Cook, the guy with the awesome mustache. Remember him? It was a simple rescue mission, but we ran into some trouble, and Mox was not able to save Cook from a Viper attack. And unfortunately, the mustache was the first casualty of the run. He was lost, but not forgotten. And we did get revenge for him. It was only Cook's second mission. He was so young. But this made me realise I needed to stop taking it slow and actually progress with the story. And that starts with hunting down the Chosen. First up, the Assassin. While hunting her down, she hunted me first and managed to kill another one of my members. This time it was Bruno, the specialist. A soldier we've had from the start. She may have died, but our Ranger Lethuli took the responsibility to get the revenge. Rushing off after the assassin and taking her out this mission. Now it was time to deal with her once and for all, so we infiltrated her base and it was time for the final battle. Start of the battle is to take out the assassin, and while she's recovering, you need to destroy the power source. And that stops her from healing and allows you to finish the final blow. And that honor went to Matsumoto, another one of our original members from the squad, and our main sniper. With one chosen down, there was 2 to go, and then just the main advent story of the game, which we're trying to stop from happening, whatever it is. We did run into Archons for the first time, and they maybe dodged the most out of any enemy in the game. And Mox learned that the hard way by missing this absolute sitter right in front of him. Luckily, we'll be able to take out this Archon before it did any damage back to Mox. Next time though, we might not be so lucky. And while hunting for the Chosen, we ran into these giant mech machines, and they're maybe the toughest things to fight in the entire game for me. And that showed straight away, because the very first one I ran into managed to kill Mox. He was quickly becoming one of my favourite warriors, and now he's gone. I need to put an end to this advent now before I lose too many of my guys. No time to screw around. So I quickly hunted down the remaining 2 Chosen. First one was the Warlock, who does some spells and is a bigger guy, but he's a lot easier than the Assassin, so same thing, kill him, destroy his platform, kill him again. And then the last one was a Sharpshooter, who is the easiest of the 3. I don't really think he did any damage to anyone. Again, kill him, kill the thing, kill him again. Simple. All 3 were now defeated. And I quite liked the Chosen Edition. It was cool having them appear in random missions, but they were doing too much damage and I needed to deal with them quickly. And then once you've unlocked the Codex, you then need to skulljack the Codex, which brings out an Avatar, which are the final bosses of the game. On the mission where I discovered the Avatar from skulljacking the Codex, I also found the portal that takes me to the final mission of the entire game. But to get to the portal, I had to defeat this big eyeball. I had all my guys fire him, even a random alien that joined my team for some reason. That was cool. But with the Avatar defeated and the portal secured, there was only one thing left to do, and that was to take on the final mission. In order to win and rid the world of the event, you have to take out 3 Avatars in the final base. First one I ran into was guarded by 2 Archons. When you hit the Avatar, he jumps around and my snipers were able to pick him off. Matsumoto once again got the final kill on this one. I cleared the area and looked for the second. Ran into the second one, and this time the star was the leader of my run and the hero of the world, Lethulu, who used his trusty blade to deal with the second. Only one more to go, and I was quickly being overrun by the amount of aliens showing up to reinforce the area. I knew I didn't have long to find out and get rid of the last Avatar, so I focused only on him and ignored every other alien. The final blow on the last Avatar went to the Commander, making a fitting end to the aliens, brought down by the leader of the XCOM program, who saved the day and ended the control of the world. And yeah, that was my XCOM run. When I was younger, it was rare I finished runs, and this is my first non-modded attempt with the DLC features. I would say the DLC adds a lot more to the game, and is worth picking up. It made the world feel bigger, and I played a lot longer than usual, and there was a whole list of Chosens to defeat, and I didn't rush to the finish line like I usually do. And I got to use more soldiers since the Chosen would injure more often, so overall I feel like the Chosen pickup is a good DLC. But with this game done, it's on to the next one. I added a poll on my YouTube to vote for future games, and I'm thinking about streaming them live on Twitch, so if that interests you, please go and follow me on Twitch, and I hope to see you in the next one. Alright guys, see you next time.